Grab a brew and tune in to the High Ticket Review. In each episode, you'll get a rewind of the misses, makes, and definitely magic of live high-ticket sales calls from a veteran sales consultant, Will DeShazo, who has held more than 15,000 calls and trained multiple 8-figure companies, all while developing a simple winning framework to close your next call. From objection handling,
I'm gonna need to sleep on this,
to on-call close techniques, the High Ticket Review has you covered up in talk tracks that convert to dollars. Now, on to today's training.
All right, spoiler alert, if you're not watching on YouTube, you have no idea what I'm talking about, but I'm going to be quick. I got a brand new camera. I had no idea an iPhone 17 could work so well as a webcam, so we're going to try this out today. Hey, listen, this episode today is about one of the most misunderstood moments in every sales call. And if you've been in sales for more than, 2 weeks, you've heard it. It's when your prospect says, I need to think about it. Again, if you've been in sales, I would go back to more than a week. If you've had more than 3 sales conversations, you've heard this phrase. You know this phrase. And you probably know it almost never means they actually need to think about it. It's almost never true. But what really is going on behind the scenes in your prospect's mind when you hear this? And how can we, as coaches, holding discovery calls, tastefully respond? I remember a call I had a few years back, and it's one of those that is burned in my brain because I felt terrible for this woman. Let me describe. I was talking to her, and she was a wonderful fit for our program. I mean, in all ways. The conversation was rolling. She was nodding. She was engaged. She was laughing. She was inspired. She was the perfect fit customer, like total dream prospect. And we get to the end. I summarize everything, and I ask her, so, hey, how are you feeling about all this so far? And she pauses, she smiles, and she says something along the lines of like, yeah, I'm excited. I need to think about it all, though. It's a lot to consider. Ooh, yikes. Hear that, and we're like, oh, no. And in that moment, I did what, most salespeople do. And I said, totally, hey, take your time. Think it over. Why don't we follow up maybe next week? And I never heard from her again. Completely off the radar. 3 or 4 months go by, and it may have been more like 6 or 8, but certainly less than a year go by. And this part is what really hurt. This is where I genuinely felt for her. She booked another conversation with me, and I found out that she had joined another program, nearly identical to ours, but way less support, way less actual coaching, way more video-based modules and things like that. Same length of time, $12,000 more. And it was she spent like $25,000 on this program. And I just remember thinking, what? Like, what happened? She never told me no. And then not long after, I'm talking a couple of weeks, she went and dropped $25,000 on this other program. So here's the truth that I've taken from that. And I eventually have learned, okay, it took time. I'll need to think about it. I need to consider it. It doesn't always mean they're actually going to go and think about it. It nearly always means, however, something deeper is going on. Something deeper is going on. So what's actually underneath that phrase of I need to think about it, right? Because when a prospect says the dreaded I got to think about it, they're not saying to you, okay, I'm going to go take a journal, lock myself in a room for 4 hours and just journal my thoughts and prayers. I'm going to go build a spreadsheet out. Like 95% of the time, that's not what happens. They're instead trying to escape. They're trying to escape a feeling that they either don't want to name yet or they're unsure of what it is. It's a subconscious feeling. And over the years, I have found that there are usually just four emotional layers behind the I need to think about it. And we're going to walk through those now. So the first of those is fear. And you guys, this is not an objection handling call or a podcast, but this is quite similar to the way that we do handle objections in my training. And most objections are rooted in fear. Okay? I don't trust myself to make this kind of decision is maybe how they think. Maybe they do trust you. Maybe the program does feel perfect, but they don't trust themselves. So they freeze. And because committing feels like it's jumping without a parachute right out of the plane, they totally freeze up. They can't truly trust that it's going to work. And that's a them thing. Clarity. I'm not even sure I know what I'm saying yes to is how they feel. Ugh, well, maybe you talked a little too much. Maybe your pitch wasn't concise. Maybe you didn't tie back to the language that they shared with you. They want to move forward, perhaps, but the picture isn't quite sharp enough for them. Maybe they're confused about what's included or what happens next or how success is measured with you. There's something still missing in terms of clarity. Number 3, timing. And you might say timing is not emotional, it's logical. I'm talking about the emotional kind. Hey, I like this, but right now I'm just busy and I don't know when I could do it. That is an emotional lie that most people tell themselves to justify that they will fail. It's overwhelm is what it's called, right? When life feels full and they feel they're at capacity or they don't, they think they can't. So instead of saying, I'm just overwhelmed right now, they say, I need to think. Number 4, safety or lack thereof. Maybe they don't want to feel pressured into making a decision because they're carrying baggage from a past conversation that went like that. Maybe they don't want to be judged or duped or tricked. And they're just testing out the space here by giving you this. And if you handle this moment wrong, if you push or you pull them through the door, they'll vanish. I've seen it. So just to be clear, the I need to think about it is not a rejection. It's more of a reflex. It really is. And it's really your human, it's really a nervous system thing, okay? The central nervous system says, I need more safety before I can move. And that right there is where you being seasoned in sales can shine. It's right in this moment. Because I train on a simple rhythm for moments like this, okay? Call it the ALT response, A-L-T, ALT. Because it is your alternative to pressure and certainly your alternative to being passive. Okay? AKA, oh yeah, we'll talk about it in a couple of weeks and they never show up again. We've all been there, right? So what ALT stands for, very simple, ask, listen, and tie. Ask, listen, and tie. So you want to ask with permission. Hey, I totally understand that. Would you mind asking me a quick question to maybe I can help you through that? Oh, well, sure. Of course I don't mind. Right? That's the general response. This keeps you in the driver's seat, better yet, in the passenger seat, but you're showing them the map. It gives them complete control of the steering wheel. It's a very soft doorway. And most prospects will say, yes, of course, because this is not a combative question. It's very collaborative. Can I help? Well, yeah. Do you mind if? Oh, well, no, I don't mind. Ask. Ask with permission. Listen. Listen for emotion. Don't listen into the logic. Well, I'm busy. That's logic. What's the emotion behind busy? Okay? Then you ask, hey, what part feels unclear to you or maybe needs a little bit more time? And you shut your mouth. This is about listening. It's not about talking. It's about listening. You listen. You let the silence stretch, even though it's uncomfortable, if you have to. Because when you don't fill the space, they will. And you're going to listen for that emotion that they fill it with. And then you can tie back to what they said earlier on in your conversation. When they respond, maybe they say, I just don't know. I'm a little worried right now is probably not the right time. You say, oh man, I totally get that. Hey, you mentioned to me earlier, right? You mentioned to me earlier. Hey, earlier when you said, you've been stuck at the same point for the last 16 months. Do you feel like waiting might just keep that cycle going? See, that's where the magic lies. It's because you can tie back into their words, not your pitch, not your combativeness, right? You just re-anchor their decision to change, their own desire. They want to change, right? This is what creates a lot of clarity for them. And most sales trainers, they're going to teach you to overcome objections, to pin the person down. That's not what we do. We don't overcome, we completely understand, okay? Big difference. So here's just a little bit of an example of maybe what this would sound like in real life. And you guys all know the pushy salesman. We've been on those calls before, right? So let's say you're on the call with the pushy salesman. You sound something like this. Hey, I just kind of need to think about it. Oh, totally. Yeah, definitely think about it. But just so that you know, just to be honest with you though, the price will never be this low. Spots are filling up fast and the bonus does expire tonight. Hey, yeah, I'll let you know. It's like, no, deal's over. I don't want anything to do with this. We've all been there, right? Whereas like a professional coach, one who is harnessing their power of selling through coaching, the prospect may say, hey, yeah, I just kind of need to think about it. Totally, of course, that makes sense. Would you mind if I asked you what part you want to think through, like specifically? Well, I don't know if right now is the right time. Oh, got it. Yeah, I mean, John, it might not be the right time. Can you help me understand what's got you feeling that way, though? Well, XYZ excuse, ABC emotion, right? It's just a busy season. They go on. You listen. You don't feel the silence. You just listen to it. Yeah, I get that. Totally, I get that. Life can be crazy, it feels like, in certain seasons. Hey, earlier you did mention to me that you were spinning your wheels. It's been 6 months now. How do you feel about waiting longer? Like, what do you think is going to change to make the timing better 6 months from now in March? And they're going to sit, and they're going to wait, and they're going to think. And you don't need to fill anything here. Let them talk first. They may say something like, yeah, it's frustrating. I keep saying I'm going to change and nothing does. Boom. Now is your moment. You can feel them start to lean in. And begin to continue to ask questions here. Well, on the counter side, why do you feel like now is the right time? Let's talk about that. See, this is where the real conversation actually begins. Not when you talk louder, but when you are able to listen deeper. Okay, so you can make this light. I tell my clients all the time, like, think about it as, hey, we should just grab coffee. That's like what that means. Hey, we should grab coffee and like talk. Yeah, that's great. Let's do that. We're right here. I'll order the coffee. I'm drinking it right now, right? It sounds really polite, but we also know that when people say I need to think about it, it really kind of is code for, please don't make this awkward for me. I just want to get off the call. And the goal isn't to avoid awkwardness, for the record. It's to create safety so that truth, legitimate truth, can actually surface. So here's a challenge for you this week on your discovery calls. The next time, and by the way, if you have discovery calls this week, you may hear it. The next time someone says, I need to think about it, take a breath. Take a second. Smile. Instead of being pushy or instead of being passive and like backing off, say, hey, I totally get that. Would it be okay if we went through together what you want to think about for a sec? Then pause. Let them talk. Your job's not to fix anything. It's to facilitate conversation here. You're going to be amazed at how many people just talk themselves into clarity, talk themselves out of fear, talk themselves into confidence and abundance once they feel safe and that they can speak honestly and open. Now, ideally, they've done that throughout the conversation, so this isn't the first time doing so, but it might be. And that is a powerful moment for you, okay? So go and sprinkle this on your next sales conversation. The conversation of I need to think about it. Guys, this is nothing to be fearful of. It's okay. It's good. This allows us to get vulnerable. I used to work with someone who said it allows you a chance to see behind the kimono, okay? This is us together here. Safety. This is a safe place. Don't strip things down in that moment and make it weird and pressure-filled or let it go. And then this person ends up spending $13,000, $12,000 more on a different program. No. Be vulnerable. Sit with them in this. I hope that you'll sprinkle this on your next discovery call, and I hope to see you on the next episode where, ideally, I've got this better camera set up here on YouTube. See you next time.
All right, you just listened to the High Ticket Review. And by the way, this podcast is completely supported by you, a high ticket closer, business owner, or salesperson. So make sure to smash that subscribe button to close higher dollar deals faster. And don't forget, go implement what you heard today. Opportunity is right around the bend on the other end of every single call that you take. See you next time.